Greetings, vampire hunters! FiOth here, and in this video I'm going to explain vampire nests to you. Now, vampire nests are the circular blue zones that appear on your map occasionally after a certain point in the story, and it is explained that the area of influence will keep increasing until it encompasses the entirety of the town, and that vampires in the area of influence are stronger than normal. Basically, they're just events that happen on your map that are of little consequence if you don't deal with them, but you should be dealing with them for a very specific reason. By the end of each vampire nest, you get loot, probably of high quality, and a good chunk of XP. Now, in this specific nest that I am showing you, I entered and there were already dead vampires around. I think it was from a previous instance. The game confused the new mission with the previous mission. I don't know, man. Everything is so bugged. Everything's a blur. But I'm going to explain the basics so you know what you're dealing with. First order of business, you have to locate it. Usually, the nest door, the door that I showed you at the beginning of the video, is at the very center of the blue zone. Go in there, enter. It can be played with friends, of course, and the basic thing that you have to worry about is the pumped up vampires and the modifier running of these vampires. Like, for example, in this instance, you get upgraded and elites, and that shows at the beginning. There is a card at the beginning of each one of the nests where you can see what you will be going up against. Some are easier, some are harder, and it doesn't matter if you play on dusk or midnight or even eclipse, you pretty much get the same amount of XP from fighting the enemies within. What you want to do is reach the heart. It's a small track usually filled with enemies, or in occasion very few of them, because I think it's procedurally generated and the encounters are like a random mishmash. But sometimes, like in this one, you might have to fight a lot. So you should be prepared for this, and I don't really wanna stretch this too much, but I think Jacob is that much more proficient at fighting hordes of enemies than anyone else, mainly because he can clock and just get the hell out of there if things get hairy. But his ultimate is also extremely useful, so downing these suckers should not be a problem. Here I'm playing on my own, I have to deal with the entire horde. Not the best situation, better played with friends as I said, but still doable, at least on dusk. So you fight the enemies and progress. Throughout the thing, you will be fighting enemies and looting corpses, the crystallized corpses that can be found here and there. Their purpose is to serve as loot points for ammunition, and I guess the developers wanted to make them a bit thematically appropriate. So as you trek, you'll find victims that are crystallized, you loot these victims, and you get resources to keep progressing. Those are pretty crucial because there is no other way to replenish your reserves. But remember, if you are equipping an assault rifle, a pistol, and a UV light, for example, your shotguns keep getting ammo. So keeping one of each kind of weapon in your inventory can be a lifesaver because it allows you to swap on the fly in low ammo situations and continue fighting. Modifiers can include watchers like you see here. Just take them out because they will keep summoning reinforcements. I haven't encountered any puzzles so far. You just keep going, keep fighting the suckers. There is nothing else to do. Just survive, look around. Usually the crystallized victims don't have any decent loot. They have consumables and ammunition, but there is loot to be had at the end, so don't you worry about it. Here's an example of a crystallized corpse. Here I was taking a look at the surroundings in case there was anything, but there was nothing. I keep moving towards the core, and when you reach the nest heart... What are you doing up here? When you reach the nest heart, you will have to manually interact with each one of the anchor points with your activation button before you can destroy the heart proper. So here I thought it was kind of safe. I thought that the blue lines were actually graphical glitches, and then I noticed that there are actual enemies in the premises. You have to take care of every single one of them, sadly, because if you don't, they will not allow you to interact with the heart, and then because we need to haul ass out of there, you don't want have these suckers coming after you. So take your sweet times, exterminate every single one of them. In case there is an elite, you'll need to have either an escape plan or some support, because fighting a shroud or an angler whilst these little mofos are coming after you is not really a viable strat. This area is going to be quite challenging. Take them out one at a time, and as soon as you're done, we can get down to business. Now, as I said, the nest victims are where you want to be. Untether each and every one of them. Loot any ammo you think you want to, because we'll be out of here without any further combat, but it's consumables, you'll use them on the outside as well. What we need to understand here is that an exit strat is required. You have to have a basic understanding of where you'll need to go. Those calcified parts on the walls are indestructible now, but they will be destructible after we trigger a certain event. You can see them here. These are actually the loot drop points from where you'll be getting your loot before you exit. Here is another tether. Keep an eye out for any remaining enemies. Sometimes they're hiding or lurking. That's our final tether point. Now what we want to do is shoot the heart. It will explode, and you're not on a timer yet, don't worry. A small chest will appear right below where the heart was. As soon as you loot this, you're on a timer. So move to these calcified doorways, loot everything, but do not interact with the door yet. You have 1 minute to loot as many of these doors as possible. Keep moving around, breaking, entering, and looting these boxes. They can include very high quality loot sometimes. This is RNG, but if you're lucky, you're gonna get some purples, you're gonna get some yellows from this. But remember, you still need to have time to extract. As of the point of making this video, I am not sure what failing to extract entails, because every time we failed to extract before the timer ran out, we were still fine, but that's probably a bug. So leave 10-15 seconds on the clock and extract. You'll be outside, heart destroyed, escape successful, you get 1000 XP. You will increase the rook alertness, of course, but you got what you came here for, baby. Sub, like, and share for more content like this. I'm covering everything in Redfall and streaming it daily. Until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection. Cheers!